Welcome back to Sea Stories with Mr. Durite. I am your host, Mr. Durite, and my co-host,
So Wong, otherwise known as Win Stanton.
And this is Sea Stories with Mr. Durite. Today's show, Shipmates. This should be pretty good. And the reason why we doing Shipmates is because not only did I have shipmates on the boat, but I'm getting new shipmates every day. People loving the show. Talking about sea stories and stuff.
Mr. Durite, there's only one special shipmate though, right? Like there's one, your favorite shipmate? The one and only?
Are you my favorite shipmate?
What'd you think? Obviously, that was so wrong. Of course I'm your favorite shipmate. So anyway, you were saying you have these other shipmates, but they're not your favorite, but they're still pretty cool. Who's our shipmate, guest shipmate today, Mr. Durite?
Yes, ma'am.
See how I did that?
So our guest shipmate today is going to be Geoff Warnock. This man is amazing, and he's a big fan of the show, and I wanted to bring him on, one, to show my appreciation,
Yes.
but two, also share his story with everybody out there. And I think it's going to be a pretty good show. And we will get to Geoff and a lot more right after this. Uh-oh. What happened, Geoff? Something happened? Uh-oh.
Attention bubbleheads, sailors, and all military personnel. Enjoy truish, lighthearted, and funny adventures from life at sea, told by Mr. Durite himself. So pack your sea bags and rig a ship or dive. It's time for another sea story with Mr. Durite. I think they're ready for you. Take it away, Mr. Durite. Visit DuriteProduction.com, follow the Facebook page, and subscribe to our channel, shipmates.
And we're back. Man, I guess we had a little technical difficulty there, but it's all good. It's all gravy. That's what you get when you go live, right?
We were just making sure you were still with us.
And paying
apparently
attention.
you are. Thank you so much.
And there's a quiz at the end of the show.
That's right, so pay extra attention.
All right. So here's a question to the audience today. Who? Is it who? No, not who. The question is, tell us about a good time you had with a friend or a shipmate.
Yes. So what's your coolest experience with a shipmate? And shipmate doesn't have to necessarily mean military experience, right? It's your friend, it's your buddy, it's your homeboy, it's your homegirl, whatever it is. Whoever your shipmate is, tell us about a very, very cool experience you had with a shipmate.
Yeah, that would be very cool. And just to tell you a quick story, because this is Sea Stories with Mr. Durite, I'm going to tell you a quick sea story.
Okay.
But I'm going to try my best to make it quick, because you know I can't talk quick. Anyway,
Oh, yes.
shipmate of mine was re-enlisting, and he wanted to re-enlist at the Pentagon. And you know the Pentagon, the one up there in Washington, D.C.? So that was really cool. And we was like, yeah, man, let's do it. Let's be on, let's go to the Pentagon. So we go out there, we drive in separate cars and everything, and I'm in my own separate car, and I get there early. Now, I'm in uniform, looking all proper,
Spiffy, huh?
inspection ready, and I walk up there, show my ID, they let me right on in the Pentagon, and I was like, that's kind of easy that they just let me walk right into the Pentagon.
Wow.
Now,
You just walked right into the Pentagon.
yeah, just walk right in.
The Pentagon.
The Pentagon.
Wow. Okay.
The five-sided building. Hold on.
Oh,
You don't want to vouch just yet.
Reserve that? Okay. All right. Let's hear the rest of the story, Mr. Durite.
Now, mind you, I didn't know where the hell I was going. I didn't know where the re-enlistment was going to be. And I don't know nothing about the Pentagon. So I walk in.
Yeah.
There's nobody there to help you. It's just like, well, you in the Pentagon, you should know where the hell you're supposed to be going. So
Right.
I'm walking in. I'm all amazed, like, wow, look at this. I'm in the Pentagon. Wow. People walking by with papers and stuff, all important. And I'm just like, wow, look
You're
at this.
looking
the Pentagon.
starstruck, right?
Right.
I can't believe I'm here.
So I start walking around trying to figure out where I need to go.
Yeah.
And everything looked exactly the same.
You mean all 5 sides of the Pentagon look exactly the same?
Yeah, all the doors, all the walls. Everything looked exactly the same. So I'm going around, first the big ring on the outside, and it took me about 20 minutes to walk there, maybe 25 minutes. Then to go to the inner rings, you had to go through like an alley. And I was like, there's an alley at the Pentagon? I thought I was going to get mugged.
Why does this story sound kind of like the Matrix? So there was an outer ring and an inner ring that you had to like go in and dive deeper into. This is kind of sounding very sci-fi-ish. But okay, anyway, continue. So it took you 20 minutes to walk the outer ring?
Wait a minute. Where was that at in the Matrix? You messing with my mind right now.
Twilight Zone.
Anyway.
And then you got to the inner ring?
I get to the inner ring, and I'm walking around there,
Yeah.
seeing the same thing, just a smaller ring. So that took me, about 15 minutes to walk around. Then I go into another ring, and it's smaller. And I walk around there for 6 minutes, 5-6 minutes. And I'm like, man, I don't know where it is that I need to go. So I just
Durite, were you drinking the night before?
no,
Okay.
there was no. I was
All right.
I was not inebriated at any point in this story. I'm not inebriated now, am I? Or during that time I was in the Pentagon.
Yes.
But eventually, 3 hours later, I find my friends.
Whoa. Did I hear that right?
Yeah, 3 hours later.
3 hours later.
That tour that Gilligan went on. Yeah, 3 hours later, I finally found him, and it was just a little. I thought I was looking for a conference room. It was just a little section off the hallway that had a flag up and a podium, and that's where we did the reenlistment ceremony.
So, Mr. Durite, you're saying you were lost in the Pentagon for 3 hours, and there was a sign and a big flag. Was it like fluorescent colored flag that pointed out new recruits or reenlistment come here? Was it that kind of sign?
No, it was no sign, and the flag was just an American flag. It wasn't neon or nothing. It was just sitting there. It was just like, here you go. And I was like, is this it? I passed by this like 3 times.
Yes, America. These are the kind of folks we have serving with us.
Wait a
who are
minute.
lost for 3 hours at the Pentagon.
You see how much you see what I got to deal with?
So let's hope our special guest shipmate doesn't get lost for 3 hours. Mr. Warnock?
Well, we'll find out his adventures and whether or not he got lost in the Pentagon right after these ads.
What's this stuff? Some cereal. It's supposed to be good for you. Did you try it? I'm not gonna try it. You try it. I'm not gonna try it. Let's get Mikey. Yeah. He won't eat it. He hates everything. He likes it. Hey, Mikey.
When you bring life home, don't tell the kids it's one of those nutritional cereals you've been trying to get them to eat. You're the only one who has to know.
A bunch of kids looking for action. So what's doing out on the street? Is this the way we ought to use our boy power? Think about it. America's manpower begins with boy power. Let's not waste it. Be a volunteer worker with the Boy Scouts.
Welcome back. And now, if I get out the way, we are going to talk to our new fan, our new buddy, our new shipmate, Geoff Warnock. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing good. How you guys doing?
Oh, man.
We're doing great.
We are doing outstanding.
And we're so happy you're here to join us.
Yes, I am so happy
thanks.
that you are here.
Yeah, thanks very much for having me.
I tell you what, trying to get a guest on the show is like it's like trying to find a escape convict.
Get Mr. Durite to be quiet.
Oh, my bad.
Oh.
What's happening?
Oh, so you just
It could
want
be
to
as simple as something as
say again?
it could be as simple as something as they forgot. Maybe they just forgot.
Yeah, imagine that. Life. You know, life happens.
Yeah, fishing happens too. So, sir, let's move into our first question. The first question we have for you today is, which branch did you serve, and how long did you serve in that branch?
I was in the Navy for 22 years.
Wow.
And what kind of ranks did you hold?
Well, I started out in boot camp as an E1 and ended up as a Chief Warrant Officer 3.
All right.
E1 and C. Okay, forgive me, Mr. Warnock. I do not have a military background, as I'm sure the tons of loyal fans that we have following the show may not have as well. So you said you started out in E1 and went up to C4.
That's right.
That kind of sounds like
No.
I didn't get that right.
No.
Because I was gonna say that sounds like the vertebrae, right? The number of your vertebrae, but that can't be right.
So E1 is an enlisted person, the lowest rank, starting off rank. E1, that was a seaman recruit, correct?
Okay.
And then you work
That's
up the
right.
ranks. Now he said he was you said a warrant officer 4,
3.
3.
Warrant officer
So
3.
he works his way up to chief and then moves into warrant officer. So he was up there like higher than a chief, kind of level with an officer in some aspects.
Don't go there. Don't go there.
Maybe we should have Mr. Warnock explain what that means. Warrant officer? That
Now
sounds kind of like police. Is it not? Is it just? I'm not understanding that type of.
The chief warrant officers they say an officer and a gentleman, technically, but we don't claim that. No, the officer part, yeah, not the gentleman part.
Wow, 22 years in that. You loved it apparently. What did you love about
I
your
did.
service?
It was the challenge, the opportunities to improve yourself. Every time that you went to a different command, you started over basically. You know, the command you were at any one time, you did your job, you qualified, you rose to the top of the qualification requirements for that command, and then you were transferred to another command where you had to start over on yet another senior set of qualifications.
So even though you had achieved the highest level at that command, then you had to start all over again at another command? That's a lot.
For instance, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, if you were
what exactly is a command? Is that like a base, a station, a location, or
a ship, an afloat command or an ashore command. And you went there, didn't really know anything about it, and you were presented with a lot of opportunities to educate yourself, become better at what you did, and you did everything you needed to do. You were judged and rated against all of your contemporaries, and if you did well, you moved on, and if you didn't do well, you didn't move on.
wow, that's tough.
So what were some of your commands that you served under?
Well, I was on the USS Oriskany, CVA 34 for about 9 months. I was waiting for a billet to open up at Nuclear Power School, and the Oriskany is now an artificial reef off the coast of Pensacola. I did a couple of different shore commands. I was at the Nuclear Propulsion Training Unit after Power School training. I was transferred to the USS Hato, SSN 604, fast attack boat out of San Diego. She's also decommissioned. After that, I went back to Nuclear Power School on staff down in Orlando, Florida. Went up to USS Pittsburgh's SSN 720 and rode her for 4 years, and that's where I made senior chief and then commissioned as a chief warrant officer, and I transferred to the USS Bainbridge, CGN 25. Did 3 years on her, and then ended up going off to be the docking officer at the Trident Refit facility in Kings Bay, Georgia.
Wow.
And had an unfortunate, just had an unfortunate shipboard injury off of the Bainbridge. It kind of stuck with me, and I ended up going down to Nuke Power School, or actually Nuke Field A School, on limited duty, trying to get some work done on my back, and it didn't work out real well, so they medically retired me at 22 years.
Goodness, because you probably would have went 40, right?
I keep telling people I'd probably still be in. I was in the groove, and I was just loving everything I was doing, and it was unfortunate that happened, but you just take what you get and you keep going.
So, what drove your military career while you were in, besides all those commands and all those challenges?
Chief petty officers and a stack of qual cards.
Chief petty officers.
I guess that's a true statement, right?
Yeah, I mean.
Is that a lower ranking chief petty officer?
Man, no, she don't know what she's saying. Don't
Forgive me.
Her, right?
Forgive the civilian.
Chief, so you remember we talked about that E1?
Yes.
So
enlisted?
Chief is still enlisted,
okay.
But you starting at E7 and up.
Oh.
So they hire
the
enlisted.
Highest of the
exactly. So yeah, don't say that.
I
Look,
didn't say that. You
sorry.
heard nothing. You saw nothing. You heard nothing.
All right. So moving on to something else. What was one of the coolest experiences while you were serving that you saw?
Coolest experience was definitely on the USS Hadow. We got to pull into New Zealand, Auckland, New Zealand. There'd only been one other nuke boat that ever pulled into Auckland, New Zealand, and they don't really like anything having to do with nuclear weapons or nuclear power down there. But we pulled in. We were there for about a week and a half, and it was awesome. The people were awesome. The Liberty was great. It was just a friendly country, and it was wonderful. And I think anybody that rode the boat during that time, that you can ask them, what was the best thing that ever happened while on the Hadow, and says, yeah, we went to New Zealand.
Wow.
Do you have a story for that trip?
They had a big protest. They actually had the Rangitoto Islands. We pulled in through the Rangitoto Straits, and we were surfaced and on the maneuvering watch, and here comes this flotilla of small boats, dinghies, kayaks, sailboats. The police boats are out there trying to push them back. They kept forcing in. A guy in a kayak, landed himself, beached himself up on the front of the boat, and we snapped him up, took him down below, gave him some coffee and warmed him up. They started throwing eggs filled with red and magenta paint, splattered the topside, spattered all the watchstanders. Their punishment, they all got hauled off to jail, and their punishment was they had to come down and clean the boat and do our laundry. So, it was, and we got a letter from them. It was called the Peace Squadron, and they were very nice about it. They just said, understand that your presence here is a weapon of war. We don't abide by it, but we welcome you as people and as individuals, and we were welcome there. Once they had their say, we were welcome. There were no other issues.
That is a pretty neat experience. I can say I don't think I've ever had eggs thrown at me with red dye, was it?
Yeah, inside the egg.
Wow.
We had potatoes thrown at us one time, but never eggs.
And hopefully we don't get tomatoes thrown at us during this show.
Well, if we get more people watching, we might, but I don't know.
That sounds pretty cool. What? Tell us about a moment that you're especially proud of during your service.
22 years, no doubt. The proudest moment in my life is when I qualified submarines. It was, I qualified. We were coming back in off of a special operation on the fast boat, and we had a ceremony down there for the guys that qualified, and we had the dolphin pinning. Captain pinned them on, and then the rest of the crew tacked them on. That was back in the days when they could still do things that weren't allowed now. So it was an acceptance. I'd spent all that time trying to prove myself to the crew, and the crew got together. I got my dolphins, and I was accepted as a submarine sailor, and I was accepted into that community. And if I had died the next day, it would have been a good life.
Wow.
And just like last week when we interviewed Chief Wiggins, and I talked about how my family was out there getting pinned. That's what he's talking about, getting qualified. That was a great experience, and like you said, 22 years, the best experience he had. So, and once you get that pin, you in. That's it. You're a submariner for life. Even though you went to a skimmer, sir, you still a submariner for life.
Not my choice. It wasn't voluntary. I was told I had to go.
All right. So here's a question that I want to ask everybody that comes across my show. Do you have any military regrets?
The only regret that I have is that I got put out early on a medical, and that was my biggest regret. I've been in 22 years. I was a CW03. I was in the groove, and I had my whole career ahead of me, and I was looking forward to it. It just didn't work out that way. I got boarded out, and that was it. It was done. It was over with. I was talking to the captain of the medical review board, trying to get an appeal put in, and he made it real clear to me that I was finished. And a week later, I'm giving a retirement speech.
Man, and I know that hurt you.
Back, right? That was when you hurt your back,
right,
sir? Wow.
And I know that was hard, because I mean, like you say, you was in your groove, and one minute you on top of the world, next second, they walking you out the door, and I can imagine how that is. I don't want to, but I can imagine.
Yeah.
So, last question, Mr. Geoff. And we talked about this a little bit before the show, and I'm not going to say what your answer was, but I'm going to ask
Wait. You got the answers ahead of time?
Yeah. I'm not going to have another Marcus incident on my hands. If you don't know who Marcus is, go back to one of our test videos and take a look at that. We laughed about that. I'm not putting myself in that situation again. But do you have any advice for any of the future military personnel, no matter what branch? We talked about this, and you had some stuff to say, but I know you have some good advice for these guys and gals. What would you tell them, if you could tell them? Or you are telling them?
Go in with an open heart and an open mind, and do what you're told to do. You're being told to do things by people that are trained, they're experienced, they know what they're doing, and it's about trust. And you have to trust them to tell you to do the right thing. You're going to learn that way. Now, you can learn on your own, but that will probably be a little bit more painful and a little bit slower of a learning curve than just doing what people tell you to do. There's nothing wrong with asking, why am I doing this? But always ask after you do it. And try not to say no too many times. That'll get you in trouble. Accept challenges. If you see opportunities, take them. It's kind of a fine line. If you hear somebody say, I need some volunteers, think about it a little bit, but go for it. You'll learn.
Wow, that sounds like great advice, whether you're in the military, about to join the military, or not. I mean, it would apply in life in general. Keep an open heart and an open mind. I like that.
Hey, the military is nothing but the social experiment, right?
Sounds like
we don't want to go there.
But you know what? Like I said before the show, when I asked you that question, he said, well, I don't really know. It's a totally different name and everything. I'm like, boot camp is boot camp. I guarantee you have some advice, and that was great advice for the future military personnel that's coming through. And we appreciate you highly, sir, for coming on, bailing me out, and being on the show, and giving us a chance to show you some appreciation for being a fan of the show.
Yes. And thank you for your service.
Well, thanks very much.
And see, and
it was my pleasure. My pleasure.
And so when you say that, don't you feel different saying it, knowing something about the person you're saying it to?
Absolutely.
I mean, and that's what it's about. That's what it's really about. You could just say it like some girl, I love you. I love you. Is that real? But you know when it's real, and to me, that felt real, and that's what I want to give to people. So, I know I'm stupid.
And we're happy to bring these stories of men and women who have served or continue to serve for us. This is why we do this. And I think it's wonderful. And I love that advice that you gave. Appreciate it very much.
Thank you, sir.
You're very welcome. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
And something else we appreciate this Durite ditty coming at you right now. I'm Mr. Durite, and this is a Durite ditty. Hello, Screen Junkies. Mr. Durite here to answer your question. What is the best movie vehicle ever? That's a good damn question. Some might say it's the Batmobile. Some might say it's the light cycles from Tron. Some might say it's that stupid ass Stargate from stupid ass Stargate. Well, it's not. By far, the best movie vehicle ever is the flying tank from A-Team. That's right, I said it. Now you might be saying to yourself, A-Team? Yes, A-Team. Don't you know it's rude to talk to yourself while somebody else is talking to you? What's wrong with you? I went to that movie, turned off my brain, and said, impress me. And guess what they did? They flew a damn tank. What else could I ask for? Hell, a TV show. They drove the van. They flew some helicopters. I wasn't expecting too much more. They flew a tank. And let's just be honest. When you was sitting up there looking at that movie and they flew that tank, you was probably saying, I can't believe they flying a tank. But that is kind of cool. Mr. Durite here. Thanks for checking me out. And don't forget to send me my email. Go ahead and hit send. Hey everybody, welcome back. Hope you enjoyed that ditty. One, I wanted to show you something that a lot of people didn't look at. So I said, you know what, I'm just going to stick it on here so you'll look at it. And
what's that, Mr. Durite?
Well, so that was my audition reel that I made for Screen Junkies to be on their show, Movie Fights, right? So they put out a question. I answered the question. I try to be as inventive as I can because you know who I am. And not a lot of people looked at that video. So I'm like, y'all gonna look at this video.
Oh, so that was your way of making sure people saw your video.
That's right. And that last part of the motorcycle ride, that's the Randall cam. I wanted to get Randall in the show, and he's been taking like little videos with his GoPro on different rides around Texas, and I think it's pretty cool.
I think it's cool too.
I chopped it up a little bit, put some music on it. I think it's a little cool ride, and I hope to do that some more in the future, especially like rock rally or some stuff like that. So keep on the lookout for that. Yeah. Now we're gonna talk about some chat.
Yeah. What have you guys been saying about us? What are you saying about the show?
Yeah. What are y'all saying?
Well, guys, Snick Gaming has said, good show, guys.
Well, thank you, Snick Gaming, boy. At least we can depend on Snick Gaming to come through and save the day, boy. Thank you, buddy. What else you got?
Shannon Marcus says, comedy and a pretty face along with it. You guys gonna blow up.
Blow up like what?
Like a tire.
So the audience can read what it says. If I'm blocking it, oh wait a minute, maybe I was blocking it.
That was the bleep.
Oh, there
that
it is, like a shitty tire.
my bad, my fat ass was in the way. Okay.
You guys gonna blow up like a shitty tire.
Yeah.
Well, wait, is that a compliment or not?
I don't know. I mean, maybe the show is a shitty tire, and we're gonna blow up.
Either way, it's a really funny comment. Yeah. We appreciate it.
I think that's one of the best comments I ever got.
And I'm glad that you think Mr. Durite is a pretty face. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I know, man, because look what I got to work with here, man. Good.
I know. I just don't clean up well. Sorry, guys.
Oh, my God.
We got any other comments, Randall?
Yes, Noble Addiction says, great job, guys.
Well,
thank you, Double Addiction.
Yes, sir. That's my partner, and he's one to hold a brother down, and he's been doing it very well. Thank you, Noble. What else you got, Randall?
And Noble Addiction closes out with another thank you again, Randall. Thank you very much, Noble Addiction. Thank you.
Yeah, man, Randall.
Absolutely, Randall.
We could not do this without Randall. I had to tell Randall today. I was like, damn, Randall. I couldn't do this if you wasn't sitting in that chair, man.
That's true.
Man, I appreciate you being here.
I appreciate you. We both appreciate you and the audience, because without you, they wouldn't have anything to see.
I know.
And speaking of see, you can find us.
Well, you can find us at Durite Productions on Facebook. You can find me at Mr. Durite on Twitter. You can also find more content on DuriteProductions.com. And you can find Win at...
I'm on Twitter at Win Stanton. That's Win spelled Nguyen. I know, it's spelled like it should be pronounced Nguyen. But if you know football, then you know Dat Win. It's the same word. Win Stanton. And I'm also on Facebook as well. Thank you for joining us. We appreciate the viewership, appreciate your comments. We appreciate our guest stars. And I appreciate my co-host, Mr. Durite.
Yes. So thank you for tuning in to Sea Stories with Mr. Durite and Win. And until next time, peace.
Bye. Oh, now you're trying to say I can dance?
No, I ain't saying you can't dance. I'm saying you're limited on your dance.
Just do something else. Okay, come on. I like it when it